up, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Welcome back to the Friday Show. For those of you that are new here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I put out those videos to talk about the news, world events, all the good stuff, and then Friday is about the conversation. Going through the comments on those videos, replying back. But before we jump into that, I wanted to address a story that a lot of people want me to cover this week that really didn't fit into any of the shows, so I just wanted to knock this one out of the way before we get into it. There's a YouTuber by the name of Fousey. Those of you who have been with me a while, you know that Fousey and I have some past. Haven't always been on the best terms. He said some stuff about me that wasn't true. We'll leave the past in the past. He seemingly burned out on YouTube a while ago. It looked like he was over it or just trying to figure things out. And then this week he came back with a video called Dear YouTube, I'm Homeless. Now, is he actually homeless? Kinda, but not really. He said he's giving himself $100 to prepare for this, but then no more money. He's not giving himself access to his money. For a place to sleep or to get places, he's going to rely on help from strangers or other YouTubers. That, of course, opened him up to a lot of criticism, saying, well, you're not really homeless. You're just a rich guy not using the money that you have that you can fall back on if things don't work out for you. How are you gonna say you're homeless while you're wearing $150 shoes? But people can debate that. That's not why I'm talking about this. The reason I'm talking about this is at one point in his video, he says this.
Each night, I have to hit up a fellow YouTuber and ask them if I can spend the night. Someone I'm not even close with. Like, I can see myself right now calling Philip DeFranco, who me and him haven't had the best past, and explain to him my story and ask him if I can spend the night. And to spend that night talking to him, getting to know him as a person, not as FouseyTube with the gold chains and the watches and this and that. No, just Yusuf. As I am. And all I have to offer for him in return is love and appreciation. And I'm gonna try to do that every single night.
So a ton of people started sending me this video saying, Phil, would ya? Would ya? My answer to that is no. Why would I let a stranger who has openly misrepresented me in the past sleep in the home of my 3-year-old son and my pregnant wife? What Disney movie do you think I live in? I mean, I'm down to have a coffee and have a chat because y'all know I love to have a conversation with people I don't see eye to eye with, but my home is my temple. I don't need to collab that bad. And understand, this isn't coming from a negative place. It's just that a lot of what he has put out there online with his burnout, it's actually concerning to me that he's throwing himself once again into this intense schedule. And I even think longtime viewers of him will understand what I'm saying. Going 0 to 100 real quick is great for a song, but in real life, that's why things burn out. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave that one. But on that note, let's jump into the Monday show. Monday, we talked about the sea lion that snatched the girl, the Carl Oliver lynching comment around Confederate monuments being removed, the Andre Durrell fight controversy, and an update on the brawl outside the Turkish embassy. Natalie Phillips wrote, I'm from the South, and I honestly never associated the Confederate flag with slavery until a few years ago. I always just thought it represented the South. I am very torn by this. I don't believe we should celebrate what the South stood for at that time, but to take down statues seems to be taking away a piece of history. Amy Daniels adding, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. If we keep destroying every symbol of a time when we were less than good, there will no longer be any proof it ever happened and thus nothing left to learn from. Our past may have been unsavory, but it brought us to where we are today, and we wear the scars of that time with pride as a show of the shit we overcame. We are better for it. So I want to hit a few things here. One, anything that was really erected in the honor of a Confederate leader, that's going to be a different kind of scar depending on if you're white or black. But looking back at my video, a big important note I should have really hit home is that yes, they are taking down the statues, but after moving the statues into storage, they're going to be looking for museums to place them in. And for me, my personal opinion is I think putting this in a museum is a fantastic idea. One, people can remember a time where these men existed. Not only that, but after the Civil War, these statues were raised after the Civil War. Historically, it was very telling of what was happening at that time. Having it out there in the public every day and having it in a museum, I think there's an important difference. A difference I think that NMA Gamer got perfectly. They said removing Confederate monuments is not removing that part of history, only the celebration of it. Learning about history is important and we must accept all of it, not just the good. However, we don't need to celebrate all of it. And personally, I like that kind of thinking. Now, obviously, I'm not someone who was born in the South. I was partially raised there. I never had a bond with Southern imagery, and I know there are people that have a different opinion. But what this reminds me of is this thing I learned when I visited Dublin last. In Dublin, Ireland, you have Trinity College. And at Trinity College, they have a statue of a man by the name of George Salmon. George was an Irish mathematician who taught at Trinity College, and he said the quote, "Over my dead body will women enter this college." And actually, funny enough, a little after he died, they did start allowing women into the college. And in fact, these days, 60% of the undergraduates at Trinity College are women. And they didn't tear down that statue of George Salmon. Instead, it became something else. When women graduate, some take a picture with George. It's kind of a fuck you to Salmon and people like him and to the idea that women are lesser. Time and the actions of of people have taken the power away from that statue. It is no longer there to celebrate, but to openly mock and ridicule. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. The situations are obviously different, but also as someone that loves learning about history and sharing history, I thought maybe someone would like it anyway. Next question. What video is this? Comment. And Catherine Mulhern wrote, I don't think the little girl's family deserves that much hate. They didn't see the danger coming and therefore weren't cautious enough. It's easy to know what they did wrong in hindsight, but if you're not familiar with sea lions, you might not know, especially because the signs don't warn you about the potential danger of the sea lions. So first thing I want to say here is, compared to what a lot of people were saying about the parents, I thought I was pretty gentle. I said I think this should be a learning experience. I'm happy everyone's okay. And yes, I did say don't be stupid. I feel like you don't need to know a ton about sea lions. If there is an undomesticated animal close to you, don't mess with it. That's it. It's just your safest bet. And so that for me, that was the silver lining. This can be an educational experience. The little girl and the family, they learned their lesson. They learned their lesson through a terrifying situation and a dose of antibiotics afterwards. And hopefully from seeing this, everyone else can learn the same lesson. That's it. And then let's talk about the Tuesday show. Tuesday, we talked about that racist bus incident, the man who was given just 240 days for raping his sister, and the terrorist attack in Manchester. Punky Paws, right? And I think if you're an asshole doing asshole shit and somebody smacks you because you're saying asshole things, it's your fault. You are free to be an ass, and then you're also free to deal with the consequences. Yeah, but it doesn't make it legal. Someone says some of the most horrible shit in the world to my face, and instead of going back at them with the same thing they came at me with, which was words, and I turn to physical violence, the crowd may be like, yeah, that person deserves it, but legally I'm still in the wrong. Bayarch wrote, would you have the same reaction if a white man slapped a black woman because she was calling him honky or cracker? I realize honky or cracker don't carry the same weight as the N-word, but at the end of the day, they are both just words. So that's actually a really interesting question. I'm also glad you did hit on the note that it is not on the same level. I'm a white guy, which actually just hearing those words out of my mouth didn't need to be said. Not really a secret there, Phil. But as a white guy, I've been called honky cracker. As an Italian guy, I've actually been called wop before, which is a very specific old slur. And while words are just words, none of those words have the same weight, the same history as the one we're talking about here. That said, yes, the public reaction would likely be different. To me, on a moral level, I'll look to a bigot and go, well, fuck a bigot. I just find it hard in general to feel bad for what happens to a bigot. So there's that. But then, of course, what is illegal still. Then, regarding the Manchester terror attack, Josh Ando writing, too many idiots thinking it's Islam as a religion being the problem, except it's just extremists. 1.6 billion Muslims and an extreme minority believe in extremist thoughts that most of them condemn, except alt-right media wouldn't tell you that. There are extremists in every religion. They are all pieces of shit. Stop using this to push your closed-minded agenda. Matic Suit Rob wrote, I do not speak on behalf of the UK, as we have a minority who would not agree to what I'm about to say. However, to all of those who are blaming Muslims, fuck you. We in the UK will stand with our friends, family, and neighbors regardless of their religion, culture, or ethnicity. We will not be in fear, and we are with the world against terrorism. Lex L wrote, every single Catholic and Christian person I've ever met has denounced the Westboro Baptist Church because they are crazy pieces of shit, and it is our responsibility to call them out on it and make very clear that we will never condone their actions. It is Muslims' responsibilities to denounce radical Islam and radical Islamic terrorists. Don't call people Islamophobic for bringing up what is going on. And there are thousands of comments on this video about whose fault it was, and then talking about Muslims as a whole, and then extremists. My personal view on this comes from two parts. The first part is from my personal experience. Every Muslim person I have interacted with my entire life has been completely normal and nice like everybody else. There's people trying to live their lives, love their family, love thy neighbor. But there is also, outside of my personal life, people that are extremists of that faith, that bastardize that faith, or at the very least follow Sharia law. You know, when you see headlines like this one from last week in the New York Times, 2 men in Indonesia sentenced to caning for having gay sex, 85 lashes in public in a province that is under Sharia law. I remember seeing a video of a woman being beaten with a cane in front of a cheering crowd because she had sex out of wedlock. Although the defense against those fears of Sharia law is that this is a province of strict Sharia law. Extremist bullshit like that has no place in this world. It would be like if there was somewhere that someone followed Deuteronomy as the law. Child being disobedient, that's a stoning. And so that's why I say across the board, it's the extremists that I'm against. I think part of the goal of all of this terrorism is to get us to turn on our neighbors, to become just as bad as they are, or bad enough to radicalize those that look like them. I'm not saying go all Katy Perry, no borders, no barriers. We just need to all coexist, because there are some scary fucking people out there that mean to do us us harm. I think we just need to make sure that we're not completely walled off. Be open, but also live in the real world. There's a reason you have a giant fucking gate outside of your house and that you walk around with bodyguards. Why? Because most people are cool, but there are some fucking crazy people out there. So hopefully that little bit of rambling made some sense, at least for you to understand where I'm coming from. And then we had the Wednesday show. Wednesday we talked about the douchebag who sucker punched the disabled man, the Danny Mathers update, and the Seth Rich situation. On Danny Mathers, Jonathan Roth wrote, $60? That twat got paid millions to be photographed naked with consent, but only has to pay $60 to someone photographed without consent? Pathetic. If this was a perverted man who did this to a woman, he'd be fined hundreds of thousands and get jail time. Where are all the feminists speaking up about double standards and inequality now? Brooke Salerno wrote, I'm a feminist, so I believe when women commit a crime, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, just like a man should. I hate what some people are turning feminism into nowadays. I don't care about men holding the door for me. I just want to be equals on every level, not just when it's convenient. And so I guess to John, I would say, well, there's one. But also, two, if it was a man doing this to a woman, that means that he would have been in the locker room that he was not supposed to be in. So it would be a different situation? Yes, in general, I was very annoyed by this decision. Even if she had to go to jail for 1 week, she had her power taken away, that would have been enough. And obviously, I'm of that mindset now that she has 30 days community service. And you know what? I don't necessarily believe it because of this smirk photo of her in court. Let's say this past year of just public ridicule, it has actually taught her a lesson. She's never gonna do something like this again. This still shows that if you have enough money, if you can get a good enough lawyer, you can do shitty things to other people and not have to really deal with your consequences. Then, this isn't a comment, this is just an update that I thought we would share. Barry Baker, the guy that mocked and then sucker punched that guy with cerebral palsy, shouldn't really be a shocker, but it turns out he's a kind of just shitty person. He has a criminal history of forgery, theft, desecration, and oh, you're gonna love this, the desecration charges were linked to him stealing things from military graves. And the theft was linked to stealing a car multiple times. Oh, also a fun bit of information. So Baker was arrested for punching that man with cerebral palsy, but paid 10% of his bail and he got out. Well, now reportedly, Chester County prosecutors issued several bench warrants for his arrest in connection to parole and probation violations, which is confusing because it seems like that would have automatically been triggered when he was arrested and charged with simple assault, which of course raised the question if he was out on probation, why didn't you just keep him in prison? The district attorney explained. After he posted bail, adult probation realized they had an open case on him and that he had 2 technical violations. So the first warrant they issued Thursday was in connection to the restitution he was supposed to pay for the car he stole. He had failed to do that. And the second warrant issued was for failure to appear in court. The district attorney saying he said he was going to turn himself in today. He didn't do that, and we've had people out looking for him. So now, unless Baker turns himself in, he faces another charge of flight to avoid apprehension. This guy is just such a winner. Also, to a lot of people saying, isn't that a hate crime? I saw a ton of those comments. Turns out, no, not in the state of Pennsylvania right now. The district attorney saying, the fact that we don't have a law for physical and mental disability is disturbing. I've spoken to state legislators and they plan on taking that up again very quickly. And then let's talk about the Thursday show. Thursday we talked about the reporter that got body slammed, a women's only Wonder Woman screening, the Love shirt controversy, Sean Hannity being fired or not, and an update on the Manchester bombing. For the Wonder Woman screening, Star City Major said it's ridiculous to say men can't go to a screening of Wonder Woman. While this movie is a big landmark for women, there is no reason to say men can't go. It in fact makes it worse that they wouldn't allow men in. If you want everyone to celebrate this movie, you need to allow both genders. That's how you encourage men to watch female lead movies / TV shows, not by blocking them out. Bogey says being offended by the women's only showing of Wonder Woman is similar to being offended to an all-girls school. Sassy Steph wrote, other establishments like clubs have ladies' night all over the place. Why aren't people freaking out over that? It's the same thing, it's just one special night. It's not like the theater was saying no men ever could watch Wonder Woman in their theater. And I'll say what I said yesterday, but with an addition. Personally, it doesn't bother me that they're doing this. A big part of that is it's for charity, and also they have other screenings where people of whatever gender or whoever you are, you can go. Also to the people saying, could you imagine if they did a men-only screening? I've actually heard rumors that they're going to do that soon. That said, I'm not surprised that there were people that were bothered by this. The celebration of one thing doesn't mean the bashing of another, though I understand by there being rules and exclusion, people could see it that way. But because it's temporary, it's select, because charity's involved, all of these things lead me to not be angry about it. I completely get why people see the situation differently. Then on the Manchester story, I mean, for the most part, this one comment pretty much summed up everyone's thought. Katie Starr wrote, I don't know, I believe the photos from the Times Square article are okay to release to the public, but the name of the bomber was not. The UK operates differently and possesses a completely different culture to the US, so it's hard to pick a side on this one. Well, Katie, I don't think you need to pick a side. I think what you said is completely logical. Unless there was something extremely unique in telling about the debris, really that can't hurt. I know that there was an argument against it. People saying it was offensive to the victims of the families. 100%, the bomber's name being leaked in US media before the UK even said anything. That completely undermines the police and any authority that is trying to find out if there are more attacks coming. Was this a network? Where are they connected to? How can we prevent future attacks? You can't unring that bell. You lose that advantage. There's a difference in the kind of leaks we're talking about, and there's a difference in the kind of leaks that we've been seeing in the media recently. To grade them as if they were all equals, that would be stupid. So I commend you and so many others this week that I've seen just thinking critically, and just like any comment section, there's always arguing, but just seeing like legitimate good debates, it always makes me happy. And I think that's actually the note that I want to end on. I do want to thank you, beautiful bastards, for another fantastic week. If you are not 100% filled in, I posted a brand new vlog today. Those of you that are a part of DeFranco Elite, just keep your eyes open because we are going to be having our first ever live town hall. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you Monday.